Hi, I'm Jeff Krakoff with StoryMatters. Today I'm with Jen England, who's Senior Director of Partner Success with 412 Food Rescue. Welcome, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you're one of the early employees and one of the founders of the organization. Tell me about its roots. How did it get started? What exactly do you do there?
Sure, absolutely. So we started in 2015 as an effort to sort of bridge the disconnect between the fact that 40% of the food that we produce in this country goes to waste, while 1 in 7 people are hungry. And of course, that statistic is like a national average, but in certain communities, it's of course much higher than that. And in certain times, like now, it's much higher than that. The problem with food waste is there's so much of the food that goes to waste is really perfectly good food. It's yellow bananas, for example. Nobody wants to buy a yellow banana, right? But the problem is it's in a highly distributed network. So it's all over the place. If you think about how many Giant Eagle locations and Targets and Walmarts and restaurants and high schools and colleges, all of these places have food waste, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, thousands really, across the area. And so it makes it really difficult to figure out logistically, how do you pick up 100 pounds of food a day from 1,000 locations?
Right, yeah, it's quite a logistical challenge there. So you
Yeah.
mentioned bananas, right? They will ripen and spoil probably more quickly than some other foods. Roughly from when you pick up food from a source, how much time is it until it finds its way to people who need the food?
It's immediate. It's literally the time it takes to drive it from where it's picked up to where it's going. I like to say that food that we rescue in the morning will be on the dinner table that evening. And that's the other problem with food waste, is most of the food that is wasted in this country is wasted because it's highly perishable. It's things that are really desirable and really hard for people who are hungry to get: produce, dairy, meat, etc. We're able to get that food and get it immediately to where it can be used.
That's great. There's a lot of hungry people out there, especially with what's going on with
Yes.
COVID-19. So you have a couple things in particular that are a little bit newer, more recent. One is you have a program that you piloted to get food to families in need at school bus stops. I understand Michael Keaton
Yes.
provided quite a bit of the funding for that, one of Pittsburgh's favorite natives and actors, and then it grew. Tell me about that program.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we started, we realized that we were solving multiple problems, including getting food to where people are, because food access can be difficult for families, not just because of finances, but also time and transportation. With COVID-19, that just exacerbated that issue. Now, children who previously had accessed food through their schools were home in their neighborhoods. And even though the school districts were doing a really good job of making sure that there were lunches at the schools for kids to pick up, a lot of kids just couldn't get there. Those schools are a bus ride away, and not all families have cars. Not all families have time to take their children in the middle of the day to get lunch. And so we realized that the one place that we knew that kids could certainly get to is their bus stop. So the idea was born to deliver food to those children by taking it to their bus stops. Michael Keaton had reached out to us as this idea was formulating and said he really wanted to help. He wanted to do something to help us in our efforts to feed families in Pittsburgh. And this was the great opportunity for him to jump in and make a difference. He was really excited about it. He was able to provide the funding, so we were able to pilot it and show that it worked. The first pilot we did was with his funding, and we purchased the meals from local restaurants, which was wonderful because it gave them business. They're struggling as well. So we were able to help those local businesses. And then that food was delivered by volunteers to the bus stops.
Now, when you mentioned restaurants actually purchasing the food, was it a handful of restaurants? Did you kind
Yeah.
of spread it out to many restaurants?
Well, for this pilot, it was 3 restaurants participated. It was Dia Noya's, Bar Botanica, and the Vandal. And I
Right.
know there's a lot of groups out there that are doing similar things where they're purchasing meals from restaurants and donating those. And we're working with groups to deliver those meals to places where there are individuals, not just kids, not just school kids, but seniors, families, other people who have underlying health conditions and can't leave their homes. And we're getting it to them where they are so that they are able to access food in this really difficult time.
Right. Now, I read in a media report that once you expanded this program, you were able to distribute 9 or 10,000 meals
Yeah.
over a couple of days. That's tremendous work.
Yeah.
Um, we mentioned self-isolation for COVID-19.
Mhm.
I imagine, the fear is people being near other people. Delivery becomes a little bit more harder to deal with. You have another program where you're delivering emergency food items.
Yes.
And if I believe it's Allegheny and Beaver County right now.
Um, yes, exactly. And we're looking at some other counties as well. And again, the idea, it's just as you said, there are a lot of individuals who are self-isolating because they have health problems. Maybe they have COVID, they're seniors, they have other risk factors that make it really dangerous for them to be out and about. I know that for a lot of us, we're lucky enough, we order our groceries to be delivered. Not
Mhm.
everybody can do that. And so we are working to make sure that we can deliver food directly to those homes, emergency food boxes, to the homes of seniors and others who are in need. We do that by, I want to say that we do that by partnering with agencies like the Food Bank, like North Hills Community Outreach, and other organizations that are able to either provide some or all of the food. And then it's our technology and our volunteers that are doing the distribution. And so one of the things that we found in this crisis is that we've had to pivot. We've had to take our operations and just completely switch the way we were doing things because the traditional way of operating didn't work anymore.
Right.
And as I spoke in the beginning, the challenge with food rescue was that highly distributed network picking up one box of food at 1,000 places. Now we've got the reverse. There are 1,000 boxes of food that need to go to 1,000 places. And it's really a very simple switch for us to just turn around our technology and change it so that we are now delivering through those agencies to those individuals in need.
Okay. So how many staff members and how many volunteers do you have at 412 Food Rescue?
Right now we have about 20 staff members, give or take.
Okay.
And our volunteers, we have over 10,000 people have downloaded our app in its history. Active volunteers, I couldn't tell you, but we have had a massive surge of people downloading our app and wanting to volunteer. It's up 200% just in the last month.
Wow.
Yeah. And, we have found that the community is really coming out of the woodwork to help us. And that's really important because a lot of our volunteers are actually seniors. And so we've had to ask them to step down. A lot of them didn't want to, but we're really concerned for their safety and well-being as well. We love our volunteers and we don't want them putting themselves in harm's way. And so especially early on when a lot of the conversation was that seniors were the only ones susceptible, we really asked a lot of our longstanding volunteers to just please wait and keep themselves safe. People came just from everywhere to help us bridge that gap and fill that need. We have so many people lined up wanting to help.
Are you still looking for volunteers, or
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if somebody wants to help, they're not an at-risk population member, what do they need to do?
They should do a couple of things. First of all, download our app and register. We are working with our donors. We will have more rescues that are going out onto our app in sort of the more traditional way of that we've recruited volunteers in the past. We'd shut that down sort of at the beginning of COVID because we weren't sure, and we wanted to make sure we were operating out of an abundance of caution. But now we've worked with our donors to make sure that there are safe rescue procedures in place, so those notifications will be going out. But you can also email info@412foodrescue.org, and if you're interested in special projects such as delivering door to door for people in need, those will not go out as notifications. And so you need to proactively let us know you're interested.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for adapting and helping so many people during this unprecedented time. Good luck to you. Hopefully things will get back to what, I'm not sure what normal looks like and when right now. But
Us
I'm sure
neither.
you're going to keep adapting, right?
We are going to keep adapting. That's what we're good at. We just want to make sure that we're getting food to people who need it wherever they are.
Thanks. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and interest.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
If you or someone you know has an interesting story to share, let us know. Email us at storymatters@krakoffcom.com.